In a world where the mundane often intertwines with the mysterious, insurance policies provide a false sense of security, binding the insured to a promise of protection against life unpredictabilities. But what if, lurking within the printer of those documents, there lay an ancient, maleficent force waiting to be unleashed? This policy marked a foolproof safeguard against all manner of calamity, holding something far more sinister, a covenant that grants power over its holder, feeding on their fears and insecurities. As claims are filed and premiums are paid, the insidious relationship deepens, and soon the line between protection and possession blurs. When one unsuspecting policyholder draws the attention of the demonic entity, they must navigate a treacherous game of survival where every decision could lead to salvation or damnation, leaving them to question, can they break the contract before it consumes their soul? My name is Chozen, and this is what happened. The fluorescent lights flickered as Mark sat in his cubicle at Evergreen Insurance, buried beneath a mountain of paperwork. The hum of the air conditioning was more ominous than comforting in the shadowy corners of the office, and the mundane, day-to-day operations felt like a slow descent into monotony. With only a few hours until quitting time, Mark couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. He glanced around the nearly empty office. Most of his colleagues had buzzed off long ago, leaving the building quieter than a tomb. Just as he settled back into his work, a sudden chill ran through the air, causing the hair on his arms to prickle. He shrugged it off, attributing it to the overactive central heating system. As he sifted through the claims, one file caught his eye. It was an odd submission stamped with the words, "Final Notification," across the top. It was from a client he had never encountered, a woman named Clara Voss, who had reported a series of disturbing incidents associated with her policy. Shadows creeping in her home, objects moving on their own, and an overwhelming sense of dread whenever she went to bed. The report sent a shiver down his spine. Mark could almost hear the faint sound of a whisper emanating from the file. He leaned in closer. The fluorescent lights flickered violently as the temperature dropped further. Suddenly the office phone rang, jolting him upright. He hesitated, feeling an unsettling pull toward the receiver. Against his better judgment, he answered. "Evergreen Insurance, this is Mark," he said, forcing confidence into his voice. A raspy voice crackled through the line, sending ice through his veins. "Help me! I can't escape! It's here!" Before Mark could respond, the line went dead. His heart raced. He instinctively glanced at the clock. Only minutes had passed since he'd last checked. An uneasy tension lined the air, and the shadows around the office deepened anonymously, swirling around him in a grotesque form. Feeling a compulsive urge, he snatched up Clara's file again, flipping through the pages with a fervent curiosity mixed with dread. In the last notes, Clara described a demon that tormented her, an entity that seemed to feed on the fear. The longer she restrained herself from revealing the truth, the stronger it became. Mark possessed the information, half laughing on how ridiculous it sounded. A small voice in his head urged him to take it seriously. He couldn't explain it, but in the moment, he thought he felt the presence in his peripheral vision. an ominous weight pressing against his back. He forced himself to focus, diving deeper into the horror Clara had experienced. As the clock inched closer to 5 p.m., the office began to feel claustrophobic. Mark decided it was time to leave, feeling increasingly paranoid with every passing second. He gathered his things and stood, the shadows creeping closer, almost forming tendrils that beckoned him back. Suddenly, the lights flickered once again, plunging the office into darkness for a fleeting moment, and when the lights returned, he found himself face to face with a tall, dark figure standing in the middle of the aisle. "Who are you?" he stammered, frozen to the spot, his mind racing with terror. The figure's face twisted into a grotesque grin, revealing jagged teeth like shards of glass.
"I'm your policy beneficiary, Mark. You called me here,"
it hissed, its voice layered with a dissonant echo. Mark's breath hitched. The demon's features began shifting, vague impressions of loved ones lost, faces of people he had buried into insurmountable grief. The reflections of his past seeped through, taunting him with the memories he preferred to forget. "What do you want from me?" he shouted, desperation lacing his words. The demon stepped closer, a malicious grin widening on its face.
"Your fear fuels me. Your denial weakens you. You've ignored Clara Voss, but now it's your turn to face the consequences of her policy."
Mark stumbled backward, desperate to escape, but the shadows surged, gripping his legs like vines. He flailed against the unseen grasp, struggling to break free. "No! I won't let you take me!" he shouted. But the darkness only laughed, a deep, rumbling noise that echoed into the emptiness. As the entity continued to draw closer, Mark remembered Clara's last words of advice. To defeat it, you must acknowledge it. With a newfound determination, he shouted into the suffocating dark. "I see you. I know you're here. You thrive on my fear, but I refuse to let you win." For an instant, the demon's advance flattered. It recoiled slightly, revealing an unexpected flicker of uncertainty. Mark seized the opportunity. "You're nothing but a collection of my fears and insecurities. You can't control me." The demon howled, rage emanating from its form. The shadows around Mark twisted wildly, and the room groaned under the weight of its fury. But Mark stood his ground, his heart pounding in defiance. Gradually, the shadows began to recede, pushed back by his conviction. The office lights flickered brightly, eliminating the terror that he held from him, captive for so long. The demon screeched, his form twisting and contorting until one of the defiant roar. It collapsed into darkness, vanishing from sight. Panting, Mark felt the air shift, freeing him from the shadowy grip. He stumbled towards the exit, not daring to look back. As he pushed through the revolving doors at the Evergreen Insurance, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting that hue of burnt oranges and deep purple across the sky. He was exhausted, but elated. He had faced his demons and lived to tell the tale. Little did he know, as he walked away, the faint sound of laughter lingered in the shadows behind him, a reminder that fear never truly disappears. It merely awaits for the next opportunity to strike.